Well, coming up on Middle Tennessee News, a look at bills entering the House floor and how they could impact you.
And also see how the Blue Raiders held their own in the Battle of the Borough.
And how one local lawmaker lives a double life. All that and more on Middle Tennessee News.
Well, good evening and thanks for joining us for Middle Tennessee News. It's good to be with you. I'm Noah Sershin.
And I'm Mary Grace Newman, joined by Kendall Davis for MTN Weather and Ethan Williams in the MTN Sports Den. Welcome to Middle Tennessee News. 2 Rutherford County students were arrested late last week making alleged threats to the school. Detective Sergeant Thomas Burnett said a Rockville Middle School student threatened to bring a gun to school on Thursday. This student was accused by Burnett of stating a threat towards a school employee or student, which led to his arrest. A student at Whitworth Buchanan Middle School was also arrested, threatening to shoot up the math class as a result of teasing him. School Resource Officer Jonathan Hickman obtained statements in his investigation as he charged the student with making threats of mass violence on school property. Both students were charged with felonies and taken to the Juvenile Detention Center.
Well, looking ahead now, the search for the next MTSU Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students are underway. The search committee is holding interviews this week. Dr. Danny Kelly currently serves as the interim Vice President of the Division of Student Affairs and Dean of Students. Now, he assumed his interim role on last July after Kalia Doss resigned. The search has narrowed down to 4 candidates: Ronald Briggs Jr., James S. Bridgeforth, Aileen C. Dow, and Dell W. Beatty. The interviews are on campus today through Thursday. Students are encouraged to attend the open forums and presentations.
Rutherford students are now scrambling for alternative transportation following the shutdown of approximately 40 buses, all because of contract disputes. Rutherford County uses an owner-contractor system where the school board contracts with individual bus owners to cover routes. The Rutherford County School Board is holding a meeting tomorrow to address the insurance conflict and to finalize a long-term plan for route coverage. In the meantime, the district said any student absences or tardies due to the lack of transportation services will be officially excused.
Well, patients who went to the Maple Street Clinic in Murfreesboro won't have to look for new care. That's because Ascension St. Thomas is taking over the clinic. They held a ribbon cutting in downtown Murfreesboro across from Murfreesboro City Hall. The clinic is being rebranded as Ascension St. Thomas Maple Street Primary Care. It was owned by Dr. Steve Hawkins for 30 years before he retired. Dr. Hopkins partnered with Ascension to keep the clinic open to the community that it had served for many years. Now, the same staff that everyone knows and loves will still be there, ready to take care of patients. Nurse Ashley Tucker has worked there for many years and is excited to continue taking care of patients.
Been a little bit of a whirlwind getting started and getting our feet wet, but we're so thankful to be able to still be in the same location and still serve the same patient load that Dr. Hopkins had for 30 plus years.
Now, it's no doubt living cost is rising, and the increased price of groceries is adding a strain on people's wallets. Now, one Tennessee state representative wants to help by removing the state grocery tax on fresh fruit and vegetables. As our Noah Sershin reports, this bill could mean big savings for all Tennesseans.
Well, it seems these days people are spending lots of money at grocery stores, and with receipts this long and not a lot of items to show for it, one Tennessee lawmaker is hoping to cut down on the price of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Hola. Buenas tardes.
It's the end of a work week for shoppers inside of Delicias Markets in Murfreesboro. Candida Pina is picking out groceries for her family of 4, and she can't help but notice how much her bill has gone up, especially over the past few years.
It's always over like $200. It's been going up gradually along, little by little.
Now one Tennessee state representative wants to help. House Bill 2086, proposed by Rutherford County Representative Mike Sparks, would exempt fresh fruits and vegetables from the state grocery tax. Sparks says it's a win for everyone.
This right here puts savings in the hands of Tennesseans, rich, poor, young, old.
Right now, the tax on fruits and vegetables is 4%. Sparks says the bill could save Tennesseans $96 million a year. But this bill does more than just saving dollars at the checkout line.
People don't realize that Tennessee is one of the most obese states in the nation. So this piece of legislation really is an incentive to make better choices, better health outcomes.
And as Tennesseans continue to pay for groceries while dealing with an increased cost of living, shoppers say this legislation is a welcomed sight.
Yeah, tax incentives kind of is helpful, and just lowering prices on stuff if they want people to be healthier.
Aquí tiene.
In Rutherford County, Noah Sershin, Middle Tennessee News.
As of last check, the bill was assigned to the Population House Subcommittee. If passed, the bill would go into effect on July 1st.
Well, Laverne Lake Elementary School has a new principal for next school year. Current principal Paige Johnson announced he is retiring after this school year. He served there for 3 decades within the school system. Dr. Carrie Holman will step in as principal on July 1st. Holman returned to the school system after a 2-year stint as director of schools with Franklin County. He has deep roots in the area where he had a 13-year tenure as the principal of Laverne Middle School. Paige Johnson will leave behind an 18-year history at Laverne Lake Elementary School.
A writ of mandamus originally issued earlier this month, the Tennessee Department of Economic Conservation must cease the application of expansion for Middle Point landfill. TDEC argued at a hearing that the order was improperly granted and that the organization did not have to go through a normal regional board review. The court ruled that the mandamus will stay in place and that the landfill must go to the regional board for this review. In this process, the public will have an opportunity for a public comment. Mayor Shane McFarland declared the ruling a victory for the city. If approved, the expansion of the landfill would add an estimated 19 million tons of waste to the Middle Point.
All right, we're going to take a break from the news now and get you a first look at our forecast. Kendall Davis joins us with our first look at the weather. And Kendall, it's been cold the last few days, and some of us saw flurries this morning. Is that still the case right now?
It certainly is, Noah. That groundhog looks to have predicted correctly for some winter weather this week. We are going to see some snowflakes in the Middle Tennessee area. The high in Murfreesboro today will be 35 and cloudy, with a 10% chance of snow. Manchester will reach a high of 25 and cloudy today, with 14-mile-per-hour wind gusts. McMinnville's high will be 26 and cloudy, with a 10% chance of snow. Smithville will reach the coldest of 25 degrees today. Shelbyville's high for today is 26 and will be mostly cloudy. Woodbury will see a high of 26 like Shelbyville. And finally, Mount Juliet will see a high of 26. Back to you at the desk.
All right, well, Old Man Winter is still hanging on there. Well, coming up in Middle Tennessee News, a first-hand look at the debate over a polarizing Tennessee House bill, and a mid-state city could soon be home to a one-of-a-kind immigration facility. That's coming up next. Stay with us. Hi there, welcome back. State Representative Tim Rudd pushes a new bill to help homeless Tennesseans. Rudd is pushing new legislation that will bring more transparency and compassion to how homeless Tennesseans are treated when local governments move them. Now, his bill, House Bill 1671, would require written consent from any city or county before another jurisdiction can relocate homeless individuals. Under the proposal, public funds couldn't be used for relocation unless the receiving community has the services needed to help people get back on their feet. Rudd says the goal is simple: no more quiet transfers of vulnerable people into unfamiliar places.
House Bill 2581 and 2194 entered the floor for debate in the Higher Education Subcommittee. House Bill 2581 was proposed to effectively end the granting of new tenure across all Tennessee public higher education institutions. This bill was pulled from discussion by Representative Justin Lafferty. Lafferty expressed his discontent with the current post-tenure review process, saying that he believes professors would rather protect one another than uphold the values of their institution. MTSU political science professor Michael Federici says faculty acts with integrity.
The faculty are really the stewards of the faculty, and they don't want, more than anybody else, somebody to be within their ranks who is well, let's just say, disgracing the profession by their behavior.
House Bill 2194 was voted into the full Education Committee. If passed, the bill would change how faculty discipline within tenure works. 2194 removes peer review and limits due process and disciplinary hearings and gives sole authority in the firing process to university presidents and provosts. MTSU Professor Larry Burris gave insight on the impact this could have on tenured professors.
If the legislature says only the president can do this, that's a real dangerous spot. It stifles debate. It could in some ways pit faculty against each other.
Well, Lebanon has officially become the future home to the largest immigration detention facility of its kind. Lebanon officials have just confirmed that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is looking to establish an immigration detention center in Tennessee, right within Lebanon city limits. Now, the site is located on Cedar Creek Lane. That's roughly about 2 miles away from Wilson Central High School. The facility, according to Wilson County Mayor Randall Hutto, would hold 14,000 to 16,000 detainees. This would make the detention center the largest of its kind in the United States. The facility contains 2 buildings with immediate access to I-840 within 4 minutes from I-40. ICE officials initially confirmed the purchase of space in Lebanon for a potential detention center, a surprise to local, state, and federal lawmakers for Tennessee. Now, ICE, the Lebanon mayor, and the Wilson County mayor had all previously denied the facility rumors, stating that Lebanon was not the proper place for this type of facility.
Rutherford County Fire Rescue responds to a fire at Wadampawa of America Temple. Friday, February 20th, before 1 p.m., Rutherford County Fire responded to the fire reported at the Wadampawa of America Temple on Barfield Crescent Road. Upon arrival to the scene, smoke was observed from the eaves and a fire on the porch. The fire was extinguished and a routine investigation was conducted. The temple was occupied by just a single person at the time, and the building had extensive damage. The fire was determined to be accidental.
Well, looking ahead now, United Way's Storybook Breakfast is coming back to Murfreesboro. The breakfast is happening Saturday, March 7th, and families can dine in with storybook characters at the United Way of South Central. This is the 7th annual Storybook Breakfast. Young readers will get a full breakfast featuring a diverse group of costume characters present for photos like Bluey, Bingo, Pete the Cat, and Llama Llama. All proceeds will go directly to the local branch of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. The event is at Overall Creek Elementary School, and there will be 3 different attendance windows starting at 8 a.m. Admission is $15 per person.
With election season coming up around, many people are looking into who is on the ballot. Reporter Ethan Williams went to the Fentress County to meet a politician that is more than what he seems.
It's meeting night in Jamestown, a city with 2 sides. While normally quiet and a picture-perfect representation of small-town America, when the commission meets, things can get a little heated.
So they can move here all they want to, buddy. They don't take over.
This is Justin Miller, one of the longest tenured members of the Fentress County Commission, despite being one of the youngest at 39 years old.
Got elected 2014, so this was my 3rd term. September, actually, I'll make 12 years.
Justin represents the county's 1st district and says he ran because he felt the county was going in the wrong direction.
Trying to give that young aspect of being a younger mind on the board to try to maybe be a voice for the younger people.
Just like the town, Justin also has 2 sides, because while he represents the younger people of the county, he likes to play an old soul. Because when he's not in front of a crowd of constituents, he's under the stage lights performing in front of a crowd of fans as an Elvis impersonator. And Justin has been doing this most of his life, starting when he was just 9 years old.
30 years ago, and well, we're talking like 96, 97, somewhere along there. So we entered a few lip sync contests and wasn't getting anywhere. You know, you had acts that were turning everybody's head. Finally, my mom and dad said, if you want to keep this up, you need to do somebody. You need to act that's going to draw that attention. Who's that? Who? And they said, Elvis. I said, who's that?
And as time went on, he stuck with it and continued to improve his act.
Started trying to mimic everything that the man done, and from lip movements to hand gestures to the legs and all that.
And his dedication has let him take this show on the road to bigger and better stages.
I got top 10 in Pigeon Forge during the Smoky Mountain Elvis Tribute show. And then in April, I got top 5 and was able to get 4th place in Brunswick, Georgia.
But he doesn't just do it for the fame. He performs at charity events to help raise money that go right back into the local community.
We've done more benefits than we have actually making money ourselves.
So whether he's passing the county's next budget or performing as the king of rock and roll, it's all to help the people of Fentress County.
To me, that was the most gratifying thing that I've gotten out of this.
Ethan Williams, Middle Tennessee News.
Thanks for that, Ethan.
And now Kendall Davis joins us with a look at tonight's forecast. And Kendall, we've gotten a cold start to the day and it's still pretty chilly right now. I even had to break out my turtleneck for the show. But how low will those temperatures get tonight?
Yeah, Noah, we certainly needed those winter coats this morning, but don't fret. Come Wednesday, we should see warm temps back in our area. Tonight, Murfreesboro will be at a low of 16 with clear skies and wind gusts up to 10 miles per hour. Manchester and McMinnville will reach a low of 16 as well, with partly cloudy skies. Tonight, Smithville will also hit a low of 16 tonight, with partly cloudy skies. Shelbyville is expected to hit 16 as well, but with clear skies. Winds are expected to be 10 miles per hour. Woodbury will hit 17 tonight with light winds. And finally, Mount Juliet will be the highest at 18 degrees tonight, with mostly clear skies. Coming up, I will be back with the full 5-day forecast.
All right, Kendall, thanks. Well, when we come back, Kendall will be back with our 5-day forecast. And then Ethan Williams is in the MTN Sports Den with a look at all things Blue Raiders. That's coming up right after this. Stay with us. Here's Kendall Davis with our full 5-day forecast. And Kendall, will we eventually get a higher range of temps as we get closer towards the weekend?
It is certainly chilly today, Noah, but let's walk through the week to see if the snowflakes will still linger. To kick off the week, expect cold temps in the low 30s and mostly cloudy conditions today. Then expect to drop to a chilly 16 degrees tonight. Heading into Tuesday, we are warming up a bit with temps in the high 40s to start the day. Then drop into the low 40s overnight with wind gusts of 15 miles per hour. Taking a look at Wednesday, we are expecting cloudy skies with a high of 60 and overnight lows of 51. For Thursday, pull out those umbrellas because 80% chance of rain is in the forecast. The high will be 55 and the low will be 33. And the best day for those outdoor plans will be Friday. It is going to be sunny and high of 62 and an overnight low of 35. Back to you, Noah.
Although 60s on Friday are looking pretty nice. Thanks, Kendall. Well, still to come, Ethan Williams will give us a look at a former MTSU head coach achieving basketball immortality, and Blue Raiders men's basketball is looking to keep up the pace in the race for Conference USA. That's coming up right after the break, folks. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ethan Williams, and welcome to the MTSU Sports Den. On Saturday, it was announced that former MTSU basketball coach Kermit Davis is going to be inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. The announcement was made at halftime of MTSU's home game during a celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Blue Raiders' upset win over Michigan State in the NCAA tournament. Davis is the school's winningest men's basketball coach in history. Davis coached for 16 years from 2002 to 2018, where he took the Blue Raiders on 3 trips to the Big Dance. Now, outside of the ceremony, let's get to that game that they did it at. The Blue Raiders were looking to turn their season around against the Delaware Blue Hens. MTSU coming into the game had lost 7 of their last 8. The Blue Raiders started the game by suffocating the Blue Hens on defense, only allowing 20 points in the first half. In the second half, it would start to even out as Delaware would go on a run to shorten the Blue Raiders' lead. But MTSU would hold them off to secure the 78-66 win. The Blue Raiders were led in scoring by Sean Smith, who had 18 points on the night. Sophomore Troy Austin and junior Chris Loof both ended the night with a double-double. MTSU is now 13-14 on the year, and their next game will be at home against the UTEP Miners. On Saturday, the Lady Blue Raiders hit the road for the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry to take on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Heading into the match with a 2-game win streak and feeling pretty confident after they beat WKU 81-58 earlier in the year, the Blue Raiders had all the momentum in the world. but they would fall behind after a slow first quarter, and 13 total turnovers would be their fate. They would be unable to maintain a lead over the Hilltoppers, with the final score being 65-70. WKU with the win. MTSU would be led in scoring by Macy Pfeiffer, who had 21 points on the night, and freshman Blair Bogus, who put up a double-double. The Lady Blue Raiders' next match will be on the road against Liberty. MTSU's men's tennis team hosted the Battle of the Borough tournament this weekend and swept away the competition. The tournament started on Friday against Utah, and it was a clean 4-love sweep by the Blue Raiders. On Saturday, they squared off against Old Dominion, and after multiple rain delays, the Blue Raiders won in a tight 4-3 battle. Lastly, on Sunday, the Blue Raiders met a familiar foe in a former Conference USA opponent, the Rice Owls. The Blue Raiders lost the double point, but were able to rally in the singles to win 4-1. MTSU is now 10-3 on the year, with their next match coming this Friday against a number 19 ranked Princeton team. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thank you, Ethan, and thank you all for joining us for Middle Tennessee News. If you missed this or any show, you can watch them on our website, as well as our special edition packages and entertainment pieces. I'm Noah Sershin, joined by Mary Grace Newman and Kendall Davis from MTN Weather, and Ethan Williams for MTN Sports.
Make sure to follow us on all of our social media sites on Facebook/Middle Tennessee News or at Middle-TN-News on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll see you on Wednesday for our next show. Have a good one.